Behold the Horn of Batrider. Well, behold the start of We Play Dota 2 League Group F action here at Beyond the Summit. I'm LD. I'm joined by Luminous, and we're going to be casting, I'm going to call them Skill Difference, but you can see their current name of choice in the game, of course, versus Root Gaming. So an NA Dota showdown in a European, actually a Russian Dota 2 League at that. Pretty unusual stuff in a certain sense, but Lumi, you just got done with some clowny G1 League Asian Dota, and now we're seeing some serious mode Dota over here in North America and Europe. I feel like the world's gone topsy-turvy.
I love it. I love WePlay because the format's really, really good. And to be honest, I don't mind casting sometimes one lopsided game because you see something different. I mean, if you cast pro games all the time that are IG Zenith, you might see, very, very serious games. You might see some Dig Out 5 games, if you hear that. But on these kind of different skill level, you also see what kind of mistakes players make when they're being up against, backs against the wall.
Oh, definitely.
And, yeah, you also see how pros take advantage of certain mistakes and whatnot. But it's shitbirds, and I'm going to call them shitbirds because I can, versus Root Gaming.
Oh, man. I like Skill Difference as a name. I think it's pretty good. But before we talk too much about the draft, I just want to give everybody the context for today's action. It is going to be a double elimination group stage, the same as all the other We Play Dota 2 League groups are. So basically, the winner bracket champions of the group are first place. The loser bracket champions are second place. They both move on to join the other 14 teams who have already qualified from this phase. This is our last group. So by the time today is done, we'll have two teams. We imagine Liquid will be first. We imagine one of the other three teams will be second. But of course, you never know, and it is a best-of-one format. So in that sense, anything is possible. But with that being said, that's what's on the slate for you guys today. Liquid will be playing later against 4FC, and then we'll have some more matches after that. But right now, as far as the draft goes, some interesting picks. On the one side, you have Skill Difference, who get their CK Wisp combo, their CK IO combo. But I like what Root Gaming's done here. They've gotten some great team fight controllers, and then the potential counter to that Wisp in the Disruptor Glimpse. Well, you glimpse that Chaos Knight back, and suddenly Wisp is just sitting there, shaking her little balls around, saying, man, I'm lassoed, I'm shockwaved, I'm dead.
Yeah, the cool thing is that you have your options. Sometimes you actually just send the Wisp back, because Chaos Knight, you could definitely kill him if he doesn't have the backup support. Obviously, Static Lightning is also really, really good against IO. Very spell dependent, and skill dependent. So if you silence him, well, he's pretty much dead. Disruptor as a full-on counter to IO, really, really good to see that teams are starting to pick that one up as a counter. For me, though, Root Gaming has really, really good lanes, and they're going to need those good lanes, because on the other side, it's with CK, it's Lone Druid. These are no pushover in terms of laning.
The one issue that I see is, although they have two strong laning solos in the Batrider and the Magnus, they don't really have a good tri-lane, because Disruptor's just not that good in tri-lanes in general. Kinetic Field's okay, but the main thing with Disruptor is you really want level 4, level 5 for that level 2 or 3 glimpse, and access to at least one point in your other spells, and while you're busy getting that, CK Wisp are busy getting the early level 6 on the IO, if played correctly. So although Root have really strong solos, and I completely agree with you that their laning stage for those two, here's the Mag and the Bat, is strong, my concern is they can't go aggressive, which plays into the hands of a team picking up CK Wisp, but at the same time, they get some farm on their Disruptor, they get that early Static Storm, that early Glimpse, and those early multiple points in Glimpse, and maybe they can just have the levels and farm they need to turn the fights around. Of course, if you dive on Root, they have great counter initiate, not only the Glimpse, but RP, Lasso as well. So not bad to give this away by any means, considering what Root got, but once the Wisp hits 6, it's always where can you farm and where can you farm safely.
Yeah, I'm absolutely agreeing with you here. If Disruptor had better spells in terms of tri-lane, he will be a top pick and ban, because all of his spells are extremely relevant at every single stage of the game, except the laning stage, which is a big part of the game. I'm very surprised that the Dire team has picked into Weaver, which is a hero that Disruptor really walks all over, simply because you could glimpse him back if you see him, which 1800 cast range is pretty legit, as well as Static Storm, a long, long silence to keep Weaver locked down with the kinetic field. So it's a very, very good counter to Weaver, but they said we're not too afraid of that. We'll pick straight into that. And in my opinion, once you get a little bit of minus armor, maybe it's going to come from a Medallion from the Weaver. Maybe it'll come from a Desolator from the Weaver as well. The damage output of this physical base team is immense.
Yes.
So it's scary.
Ghost Scepters are in order for Root Gaming when we get to the mid game, because actually, if you look at this lineup, you have the Wisp balls, and that's it. they have really no other magical damage of any kind. I suppose you can sort of count Sakuchi, Chaos Bolt, but realistically, it's all physical damage. So things like Ghost Scepter will be fantastic as we go later and later into this game. The one concern for Root Gaming is once CK gets a BKB, what are they going to do against him? Sure, they have these abilities to hold him in place, but how do they actually bring him down? Right now, lacking that physical damage, so I imagine we'll see that carry coming out as the final pick. They've opted to really wait on it. On the side of of the skill difference team, they pick up a Clockwork, gives them another semi-global presence with the Rocket, an annoying hero for a Magnus, and a Sand King in team fights, even Batrider. Cogs are infuriating to play against. You jump in with your Firefly ready to go, you're getting bounced all over the place by the Cogs. Sure, you can maneuver around relatively freely, but even that initial Mana Burn, that initial knockback can be quite frustrating, and I think this Clockwork, a nice pick, gives them another hero who can go in first, and a hero who's survivable. So the CK Wisp, the CK IO, they can bide their time, wait for that right opening to engage.
Can you imagine a Clockwork getting a tier 3 man Cogs and suddenly the Wisp relocating a CK on top into that Cog?
Ouch.
With 5 spare balls and, Phantasm in the middle of that one hellhole pit. I don't even know how to call that one. Also,
it sounds like a nightmare. I don't really want to imagine it, but I certainly can.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's what shipbirds are looking for. Faceless Void is going to be the pickup, which is, I guess, to answer your question, how do they bring down CK? Well, that is the reason, I guess, how they would do it. Keep in mind that Wisp could still tether on the edge of the Chronosphere and rescue his ally by relocating them out, but you have effectively removed them from the teamfight regardless. So this Void has to play really good, and he's going to have a weak supporting lineup. Like you said, Disruptor, and to a certain extent, Sand King doesn't really do too much in the laning stage.
But I think that's... wow, are they actually looking to get aggressive here? It looks like they are maybe heading towards the aggressive tri-lane with a Weaver CK Wisp. I don't know about this. Well, we'll talk about the lanes in a second, but we should start by introducing the players. So over on the side of Skill Difference, or Shitbirds as they're now calling themselves, we have Bear Force One, apparently a gay band, and a famous one at that, which I didn't know. I just thought it was a funny name. He'll be playing the IO. Dilated Mind, a long-standing NA Dota pub star. If you queue in the high skill, you run into this guy all the freaking time. He had the most games played for a long time, or maybe it was the second most. He plays a lot of Dota 2 at that. Swaggity playing the Weaver. We're going to have that solo mid Kia handling the Clockwork, rushing a bottle, and then Sanju going to be that safe lane lone druid. And looks like he started with quite a bit of regen, and the Bear scouting out the bottom lane, but it does have that stout shield. He'll be heading back towards top.
Meanwhile, on the Radiant side, we have DDX for Root Gaming. Usually plays their long lane. In fact, he's going to be starting on the jungle, I believe. Merlini, who
It looks like he's going mid, actually. Maybe not. Now they're switching.
No, Merlini is saving for the quick battle on the Magnus, so I think he was just checking out, trying to scout the rune, whatever the case might be. He's going to go back and block this one. Merlini, not on the team officially, but on the last couple of days on the stream, you would have seen him scrimming with his allies, so they're looking pretty good. He's playing the mid-mac here. But on the bot lane, this guy on Sand King, I don't know how to say that, so I do apologize. We have a Sand King player on Sand King. Lust is going to be playing the Disruptor, and Monkeys Forever, who, to my memory, has a really, really good Batrider, so I was hoping that he would play Bat again, but he's going to be playing the Faceless Void here today.
Okay, so we've introduced the players. Now we can actually talk about this lane. They are tri-laning a Weaver Wisp CK, but they're doing it, which the initial reaction is WTF. But then you look at this tri-lane of Roots, and to be honest, it's a Disruptor Void, which is a pretty awful tri-lane. Truth be told, I would say it's very odd, to say the least, to tri-lane your Weaver, but considering that Root doesn't have the strongest tri-lane, I don't think it's necessarily that bad, and I will talk more about the sort of the strategy behind this. Like, what is the thought process behind tri-laning these three heroes?
Well, for the first part, they recognize that the Radiant tri-lane is really, really weak, like you pointed out. And secondly, Weaver, Sakuchi, plus Tether, they could actually move around so very quickly. You could tower dive very easily. Dilated Mind has to tank a lot of stuff up front. And to be completely honest, Void is a pretty ass hero in the tri-lane even. He just needs to get farm, and if he doesn't get farm, well, the game is pretty much won, because once Wisp CK hits 6, what are we really going to do, to be honest, once he jumps on your support? Now, we did talk about the Glimpse, but I think this is Dire's good advantage to take advantage of the greedy lineup that the Radiant has drafted.
Yeah, and you know, the one nice thing is they have a Weaver in this tri-lane, and at the early levels, he's never going to die unless he dives the tower. So, Swaggy can contest the pulls rather freely if those pulls come in. They're also spamming rockets towards the lane, so it seems like it's not just a casual offensive tri-lane Weaver, but there's a bit of thought behind this. It's let's push the lane, let's dive the tower, because this is a tri-lane that needs a lot of levels in farm, and when they're trying to pull, we'll contest with our Weaver. You can't kill that Weaver until your Disruptor gets quite a few levels, and he's not going to get those levels because we're constantly contesting it. At the same time, Void farming decently in this lane. Nobody's dying just yet, and obviously this will delay that Wisp level 6. So, some big trades by skill difference. I'm not convinced yet, but it has some potential, and I think a lot of that potential lies in the hands of this Clockwork if he decides to show up to the lane.
Also, I think right now the Dire Trilan's waiting for that level 2. You get the access into Chaos Bolt, which they have right now, as well as the Spirits, which is going to do a ton of damage, and more importantly, the Swarm. Swarm is often a very underrated spell, even at low levels, because the supports are going to be trying to run away or stun and try to do whatever they can to help the carries. And suddenly your minus armor is going to mean a lot. We talked about needing minus armor.
Top lane. This looks to be our first blood. Sanju, 5 napalm stacks up, and DDX looking for the kill. He actually jukes slightly the wrong direction. Needs 2 more auto attacks. There is a South. There is 9 charges on the wand. Oh, DDX, he turned the wrong way. Now he's going to give up first blood. Sanju with the big plays, just moving slightly to the right when DDX was expecting to move more north. That should have been a kill, but just a slight misposition and good play from Sanju turns it around. And a lane that would have gone very well for the Batrider now gets very hard.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very, very even matchup until you give up that kill. Suddenly, Lone Druid is going to be a level ahead. Looks like he's going to make a go on the bot lane, forcing a jump here. So 70 mana gone for Dialing Mana, which is a big deal. Swagger, he's going to go in. He's going to be very careful. If he gets Burrow Strike here, oh man. Low-level Sakuchi has a long cooldown, so I think they could have actually even punished him for that, but they're going to play safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's only a level 1 glimpse, and obviously the Burrow Strike has a low range, so as long as he's careful with when he goes in, they'll fire in another rocket. They're pushing the tower a bit. A little bit of Thunderstrike damage. Oh boy, if he gets bashed here, there's your Tether Stun. Swaggity glimpsed back in. They pull you in. They chop you up. They bring you down. They get a crucial kill there. And really no trade at the moment for Serious Business, or Shipbirds. Why did I say Serious Business? SBS, I guess that's what comes to mind. But looking at the mid lane, Lumi, Merlini doing really well in this 1v1 matchup, sitting at 21-5. And I would say I think it is a matchup where Magnus has the slight edge, but not quite this much. He's really just winning the lane. On top of that, bottom lane will have an additional kill as Faceless Void takes a fall, and now the chase potentially going the other way. Burrow Strike coming through on Io. Io dropping pretty low. Lush just auto-attacking his way to victory. Swaggity gonna dive this tower. Another rocket flies through. They will get the kill now, 3-2. But can there be a Burrow Strike? No mana, no range. Swaggity, he'll salve up. But those creeps are running him down. He's only got 290 base move speed. Those legs are dragging along the ground. He'll be forced to blow a salve. Only gets about a quarter of the regen out of it. But all things considered, score now 3-3. First blood went the way of the Dire. The tri-lane pretty back and forth. Looking at the gold graph even, experience graph even. Do you have a favorite in this match so far?
It's not too bad for the Dire team. Wisp was able to get the kill before he died, so he's a step closer to level 6, although with this offensive tri-lane, you need to get a lot more kills. The mid lane going towards Merlini, you expect that coming out of the Magnus, but more importantly, you gotta keep in mind the Clockworks basically sending every rocket on the bot lane to help out that lane, so it's not really a true 1v1, and Magnus should be able to get that lane. The question for me is how much Mag can do once he has the Arcane and Blink, because Void is not going to have any farm. Batrider is going to have a little bit of tough time after giving that first blood on top as well.
I don't think we'll see any kills mid unless our Clockwork makes a big mistake. You just don't want to dive a Clockwork, but bottom lane is where the real action could come. This is 2 squishy heroes and a relatively under-leveled, under-farmed Chaos Knight sitting right now at 21 CS, which is 4 CS a minute. It's not bad, but if it was a safe lane Chaos Knight, he could easily have close to like 30 plus CS at this point, as we are just about 6 minutes in. And, well, are they going to go looking for a Burrow Strike? It's going to catch on too. Now the Thunder Strike to follow it up, but there is a Tether Stun here. A pull back in onto Lust. Void winning the man fight. Dilated Mind forced to run away. Meanwhile, Disruptor, the first one to fall. Now the Chaos Bolt. Decent damage. Gets an additional kill. When it's all said and done, a 2-hero Burrow Strike, a 2-hero Thunder Strike, which does do a small amount of AoE splash, so to speak, but just not enough follow-up. This Void just not contributing much in these clashes.
Well, I mean, he's a Void. You can't expect anything out of that.
That's true.
I felt like Root Gaming should not have made that dive. Hindsight's 2020, but you got to keep in mind that Void, like I said, contributes nothing. I think these heroes are really good as counter initiators because you drop a couple of nukes on them. When they run, you glimpse them back into your tower range, and you go for those kills. You can't actually actively go for the kills. Not against the CK as well as the Weaver. They are just simply either too hard to bring down or too mobile to bring down. Well, and they gave up 2 kills. Suddenly, Void can't farm for about 30 to 40 seconds. And you're not in good shape. So they're trying to set up gank off with the top lane here. Sanju is very, very tank. They will have relocate on top.
That root.
They will need that relocate now. They do bring him back under the Firefly, but Sanju is going to make it out of there. Oh, it's going to be close.
Oh, he could go. No, the entangle. DDX is going to go down. Root Gaming gets rooted and pays. You live by the root, you die by the root. That's what we see there. Man, I would be so mad right now if that happened to me. 2 roots in 1 engagement. That's some strong RNG going his way.
Well, meanwhile, in the bot lane here, sensing the whips a little bit out of the lane. There's only 2 melee heroes out of lane here, in the lane for the Radiant team. I think you make it go here, especially on that Sand King. He may have Sandstorm, he may have a Burrow Strike, but they definitely have the mobility and the detection to actually follow him through and get the kill.
So Merladius picked up an early smoke. He has his Arcane Boots. He is the lead farmer of this game by a decent chunk of Chain City at 2,900 gold. And he's prepared to go ganky, but he's also, bottom lane, missing a kill on the Sankey there. My apologies for that. Maywell looking to dive on Monkeys Forever. If they can get a Reality Rift or a Chaos Bolt, they could go for him, but unfortunately, both on cooldown, out of range at any rate, and they won't go, but this Void really not getting that much farm. Now we're seeing the farm gap increase as the support's rotating top. They wanted to bail out the Batrider, give him a kill so that he could get a little momentum towards this Lone Druid, but now Lone Druid's 6, so giving up that early death, you can really snowball as a bat in the 1v1 matchup versus Lone Druid, but when you give up that first blood, you give away the early level 6, and that means, sure, you can get a kill with your support, but you're not going to be killing him solo, and that means Void left to his own devices while Disruptor rotates top, so all things considered, I think it's looking pretty decent right now for skill difference.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good. Wisp a level 5. They just need 1 or 2 more kills on the bot lane to start really abusing their map control and the relocate. Also, Void hasn't been farming too much, and that's the thing that we keep harping back upon. I mean, what is Void's going to be your first item choice? Is it going to be Battle Fury? Is it going to be Mask of Madness? None of these items, well, it help him farm. It will not really help him survive. And against Wisp CK, you just need to survive.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 schools of thought, right? There's the one, like, you need to be able to tank through the fight because on the side of skill difference, you have a ton of bursts. The other school of thought is, I have a mag, I have a Sand Cane, and if we get a good team fight, speaking of that mag, Merlady bottom now, looking for a go here. He is smoked up. His smoke will be dispelled. DDX gonna start. This doesn't have a lasso. There's your time walk in. The Chrono is here. Nice job zoning. Oh, we're gonna see the relocate. It's not up yet. That bailout you mentioned, not available. All the hate in the world throwing a dilated mind. And will he even go down? The RP as well. He's still alive. Finally, he falls. They literally blew everything, aside from a Static Storm, which they didn't actually have. 5 heroes to the bottom lane. Lone Druid, free farming top. They get the CK kill, but I think that's a little rich for my blood, man, because Lone Druid's just farming top. He's going to be pushing this tower, and it's delaying your Magnus Blink as well.
Man, that was really unlucky. They got a 3-man cogs, and Merlini RP'd them back out of the cog.
Did he really? Like, I was kind of wondering why that came out.
Yeah, it RP'd them out of the cog, and they were like, oh, okay, now we just run. And the rest of the Radiant member were trapped in, so it was just like kind of lousy of a fight. But Wisp, though, 5.5. I'm constantly keeping my eyes out on it. They're going to start looking for a ton of kills, even at this point, before level 6.
And top lane, Merlini will rotate in here. He actually eats a Entangle immediately. The roots are strong with this one. Bottom lane, like you mentioned, they're looking for a go. They'll find that Sand King. And while that fight was happening, the tier 1 top takes a huge chunk of damage, almost 1,000 HP lost on a pretty much full HP tower. That is the downside to going for that 5-man aggression, as mentioned, when you're up against the Lone Druid safe lane. And now, Wisp is going to hit level 6 off of this creep wave. And then, if you ever are doing what Merlini is doing right now, you're probably dead to the CK Wisp. Maybe not this second, but once CK hits level 8, has the 2 abilities maxed out, you definitely will be.
Clockwork getting a little bit of mini stunning going on Merlini. Can Wisp his 6? Not just yet. Clockwork Hook used
no skewer.
Now. Skewer or just already used. He's trying to shockwave through. Where's the TP coming? There is no TP. The bear is gaining on him as well. Bottling through. Wisp has relocate. Is he jumping just
bottom
yet?
Lane, no, bottom lane. They're going in on Lust. Lust eats a Reality Rift into the stun. Merlini does escape in the end. So, well, they don't go top, but they can look to do so now as they do have that level 6. Actually, no mana, so can't go yet.
Yeah, he needs to get a Clarity or Arcane.
Top lane. Back to Sanju top. There's this constant aggression. Welcome to NA Dota, folks. We will see a Skira in. Sanju, another root. but not enough. Needs a little more damage to bring down Merlini.
Man, Merlini is right now is living on the edge because there is they know where he is.
It's the bracer. It's the early bracer he went for. I think it's actually saved his life twice now.
Yeah, not a normal item, but yeah, like you said, a big part of his survivability now would just teleport back home. Just saying, Wisp, where you at? I don't care where you at. Me on the bot lane, relocate right here on DDX. 2 seconds stun, immediate follow-up. They won't get the kill. Bro strike into the Tether chain stun. The Light in Mind so very tanky because Wisp is providing a little bit of extra regen. He will TP him. Swaggerty's getting the hell out of there. And that is going to be it. Wisp up to 1k go. I wonder if it's going to be going for the quick mech or he's going to go into Arcane Boot right now. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Arcanes are the choice, and ICK is very mana-dependent as well as you love to have that mech on Wisp. So makes sense. Lust going to get caught out here. There is a hook. It will land, and this looks to be big trouble. Static Storm deployed by Lust, but he will take a fall as well. Burrow striking into that Static Storm is a very bold and very Russian Sand King. Now the Time Walk as well. Kia looks like he'll drop. There is an RP. Merlini getting closer and closer to that Blink Dagger. DDX, no Blink up for him, but is it on the Courier? Is he really this underfarmed?
Yeah, I mean, he
wow,
lost.
He's so poor.
He lost the lane after he made that dive, and unfortunately, once the bear has root, you really can't farm as easily. And also, he's been basically forced to help out his teammates on the bot lane to make sure that they're not losing as much. The only reason the game is so close right now, 7-11, even though they're down by 4 kills, is because DTX rotating. But like you said, if he's rotating, he's not farming.
Even though Sanju died top, though, look at his goal now, up to 1,500. And I imagine this game, we could see either the Maelstrom or the Armlet. The Armlet, bottom lane, looking to go here. Monkeys forever, no ultimate at the moment. He'll take another tower shot. The backtracks twice in a row. It is enough. And now our Russian Sand King on the run. Void will fall. No more backtracks for Yusura. 4-second stun. Hits Merlini. Sand King still running. Dilated Mind charging into Napalm. Charging into potential Flame Break. Or Lasso with the cogs. Driving DDX back. Swaggerty. He's got the stick charges. He can time-lapse out if he needs to. He won't have to do so. A rocket comes in. It will kill off our Sand King. Now Merlini hoping it out of there. But Swaggerty give a chase from long range. From downtown comes Kia. Nails the clockwork hook. And now Lust will take a fall. Dilated Mind still on the chase. The Orb's looking for Merlini, who is getting close to that Blink. He's got 13 stick charges. Call it 14, but he's stunned, and he's gonna die. He even goes for the RP. He doesn't get it off. Now the Chronosphere deployed. Does Merlini a buyback? Because this would be a pretty good time to use it. While that Chronosphere is there, won't do so. Now a Time Walk in. The Clockwork Cogs working directly against skill difference here. Trapping them under the tower. Wisp in the back lines. Looking for a way out. Has 3 stick charges, a long range tether. Bringing her to safety. Bear first one, or it to safety, I should say. Able to escape. By the way, while that was happening, Lone Druid just free farming top. Will be the Maelstrom build. It's coming soon. And Limmy, one interesting thing before I hand the mic over to you is Lust is actually leveling up Thunderstrike this game. We almost always see that Glimpse maxed first.
And I think it's actually a pretty decent choice. Against a Weaver, you just want extra damage. The Glimpse back is nice, but you just need damage to actually get the kill. Also against a Wisp, who very, very squishy hero, always in the middle of the thick of things. Somehow, very, very good Wisp control wasn't actually picked up by all the AoE crossfires. You want damage, you need damage in this particular team. Void's not going to give you too much. RP, Magnus, after that he's going to be done. And Byrider, not exactly your burst CS heroes. It's an unusual choice, but a very interesting one, and I think it's a correct one as well. But this game right now, 7-11 before that team fight, now 9-16. You gotta keep in mind that it's 5v4 always for shitbirds, because Sanju is farming up top, basically free farming. So I think right now Root Gaming in a huge trouble. They're fighting 5v4 and they're still losing these
And
fights.
strategically, it's so bad, right? Because CK Wisp can farm one lane, Weaver another, and Lone Druid a third, and you can't just go gank that Lone Druid or Weaver. If you do, guess who's coming? CK Wisp will be there. Clockwork with all your tier 1s up can get there very quickly with a hook. I mean, look at the range on that. You could just barely see it in the top left corner, just how far that hook will fly. So basically, with all their outer towers up and with a CK Wisp, Root can't get aggressive, they can't punish the split push. They also can't really TP to defend their towers without Braining 5, and you can just see that from their movement around the map. Not only are they playing on the back foot like this, but they have basically no vision, which is a great way to get yourself absolutely slapped apart by the CK Wisp combo. Tower goes down to Dilated Mind, who, oh, by the way, getting close to his Armlet with the Helm of Iron Will up. It's a lot worse than this 8k gold lead. I would say it's even double that in terms of like the effect that Root is feeling right now in this game.
Yeah, the only lucky thing, quote unquote lucky thing for them is that it's only an AK and that there's not big item lead. If there's a mech on this Wisp, oh my god, the team fight is going to be so lopsided. But as you, like you said, because they have map control, they could now starting farming an enemy jungle. There's a nice stack here. Swaggerty will slowly clean that one out.
Yes.
And he really can't challenge anything because Wisp CK will always be on the toes. He has not released a single relocate yet, which I'm very surprised about. But looks like we're going to see a little bit of action. Dilated Mind looking for some kills.
On the hunt. It's actually going to be Bear Force 1 leading the way, scouting things out with the orbs, which do give you vision, so fantastic tool for that respect. Merlini, he'll finally have his Blink Dagger. Is it going to be enough at this point? I mean, we saw how disruptive the cogs are for this 3 melee lineup. Even Batrider is effectively a melee hero in fights because you have to be on top of heroes, stacking napalm, burning them in the Firefly, and in doing so, he'll be on top of them. So it's basically 4 melee heroes against cogs, against CK Wisp, and I feel like we're seeing the effects of that, and this Clockwork pick, you know, we talked about it. It could be really devastating this game. It's turning, even though we haven't seen too many kills coming from Kia, I feel like his cogs have been, oh, here we go, relocate top. So here comes your CK Wisp, and now it'll be a frantic retreat for DDX. Can he get away from this CK Wisp? They're getting close. They've almost got the angle. They've got the vision. They've got the distance. They've got the stun, and they've got a DDX feeding his life away. No escape. Meanwhile, Swaggerty takes the tier 1 mid. It feels like a house of cards collapsing very quickly here for Root Gaming.
The Radiant team reacted instantly as they saw the relocate TP in, but there's just nothing you can do. The drums charge puts CK with Tether almost at max movement speed, and of course with the sight being granted by Spirits and the initiation into immediate stun of Reality Rift, well, you're pretty much dead. Boy, does he see it coming.
Oh no. They've got the vision from this Weaver just out of range.
Oh, they popped a drum charge as well. These drum charges being expended very, very quickly. But that's fine. As long as you get 1 or 2 kills out of your drums, it's still very nice stats items, and that's going to help out his Phantasm. That's going to help his mana pool, but more importantly, he's got Armlet on top now. This is Armlet drums, treads on offensive trialing CK. That, in my opinion, didn't really win that trialing all too well.
Even the Weaver's got some basic HP items. A Power Treads, Ring of Aquila. He's actually taken 2 points of Geminate, but I imagine we'll see him max the Swarm now and give some great utility. We talked about if you're Root, you want a lot of Ghost Scepters. Well, good luck farming those when you can't even leave your tier 2s, when you can barely leave your base at this point. We may see a relocate gank any moment on his DDX, who is still trying to farm up his Blink Dagger. Had he gotten that first blood on the Lone Druid, dare I say it, he probably would have had the Blink at like 10, 11 minutes, because that's a lot of gold your way, and you can keep the Lone Druid out of lane, deny him from that easy level 5, and pull quickly far ahead, farm his jungle, be aggressive. That death top, I mean, that really turned the tides. And the other thing is, well, it was just the choice of supports. Not the strongest laning supports in the Disruptor, the Sand King, and then the Void, not a strong lane controller. A weird decision at first when you looked at skill difference, going aggressive with Wisp, CK, Weaver, but when you have Clockwork mid spamming rockets, they had the stronger quad lane, if you want to call it that, or 3.5 lane, and it's worked out well for them. They'll take Roche now. I think they could just start pushing these outer towers. You can park Lone Druid on one lane, the other 4 on the other, and it's going to be very hard for Root to defend.
Yeah, mech is up on Clockwork. I thought Wisp was generally your mech carrier, but Clock picked it up a lot earlier because he's got the mid farm. I mean, this particular draft, like we kind of harped on over and over again, the support being the weak end of the draft, they really need to depend on the Batrider and Magnus a lot. And like we said, being forced to jump on the bot lane and start helping out. Now going back to farm his Blink, Merlini have to do a ton. Like, the entire team's weight is on his shoulder right now. He has to do a ton to actually carry his team back. And
summon your inner Yao, Merlini.
Well,
we need a Yao mag right now, a 430 mag.
He's summoning his inner ZSMJ really hard right now. He's actually empowering the creep to actually help him to do a little bit of pushing.
Hey, why not? It's a very cheap spell. I mean,
sure, yeah.
It's a small thing, but it'll push the lane out a bit faster. But the big problem is they can't defend these towers, and that's with a Blink mag. They didn't have their Blink Batrider, now they do. But even though they have it, there's an Aegis on this on the side of the Dire, and I mean, realistically, how are you going in on these heroes? CK is super tanky, Cogs are super disruptive, you always have to Wisp relocate to bring them back to safety. You mentioned how you could actually pull a hero out of Chronosphere, which I personally didn't even know, but sounds incredible as a counter to Chronosphere, and I'm very worried for Root. Despite getting these Blink Daggers up, it feels too little too late, unless we see a big mistake from skill difference.
Well, they're going to try to do a smoke gank right now. Lust and DDX is smoked up. The only person you could really gank off is either CK or Wisp, and that's exactly where they're going to. They see Merlini and Sanka coming in. RP, that's going to be 2. That's the opening they need. You got to burst down that Wisp. Look at the AoE. Look at the carnage. They need a big play out of Merlini, and that's it. And now suddenly the map is wide open. Get your farm. Get your farm, boy. because you got some room. They bought you space.
Yes, this is going to be a crucial minute or so for him where that Wisp is off the board and then returning to her CK. Generally, you always see the CK and Wisp tied at the hip this game. That wasn't the case there, but it was spotted out by a Radiant Ward. If you're on the side of skill difference, you should have a gem at this point. There's really no reason not to. When you've taken 5 outer towers already, you've taken Roche, you have the money for it. I don't care who gets it, whether it's your Clockwork or your Wisp. Wisp, it looks like maybe going for the pipe next, but they should have a gem. Someone should be carried, and if they had one, they probably wouldn't have died there. Of course, hindsight's 20/20, but it's just a crucial thing to do as an up-and-coming team. If you want to improve your map control, you get that gem once you knock down the outer towers, especially with CK Wisp, because if Root don't have vision, they actually just can't leave the base. They can't even leave the tier 2s, and even there, they'll die unless they have 4 or 5. So I'd like to see a gem soon for skill difference.
Well, Faceless Void does have that Maelstrom being... I guess maybe they're a little bit afraid of the gem actually being kind of turned against them, because they're setting all these deep wards, and let's say if the gem gets dropped, suddenly all those deep wards they just set gets countered by their own gem. So maybe a little bit weary to that one, but...
You gotta play to win, Lumi. You can't play not to lose.
Well, I completely agree with that, although they just got smoked up and it didn't look good. Merlini should be fine there. There's a big gank party coming this way, but I'm not sure. I mean, come on.
This is cute, but I don't know that it's the... And the bear does move really quickly. That's the one nice thing about it. Dilated Mind, off farming the enemy jungle. He's under that same Observer Ward, but at this point, with the mid lane being pushed in, top lane, they're on the run, and Swaggity pushing bottom, it looks like they're not actually even going to make a go. But that ward is seeing him.
What do you think he's going to get? He's got 3k gold. Reaver?
I think you still get BKB this game, even though they have so many lockdown spells through the BKB. So if you ever get Static Storm, you can still pop it. And more importantly, it's still almost all magic damage. Void has a Maelstrom and Power Treads. First of all, you don't take the lightning damage from the Maelstrom. And secondly, even with Empower, he's just not going to hit that hard at this point. So I think you still go BKB. But yeah, if he wants to go Reaver, if he wants to go Heart, it would be pretty decent as well, but there's a lot of stuns that don't go through Magic Immunity, so I think either perfectly viable, maybe leaning slightly towards the BKB is the safer choice, but I mean, either way, it should be fine. Bottom lane, Kia, he's fishing. He'll pop the Battery Assault. That doesn't hit invisible units, though. He needs detection here, or we will just see Sankey run away. A tether will come in. Now the bear on the chase, diving the base, hits him with the rocket, snipes him out. Now Merlini jumps in, but doesn't unload an RP. They'll get the Wisp. Are we going to see a buyback? No Wisp buyback. So Wisp is out of the fight. The bear in the middle of it, but eating a lot of damage, fighting in the Firefly. They will force out. No resummon. No bear for 25 seconds. In spite of that, no Wisp, no bear. They're still going for racks, and they're up against RP and Chrono. I think they need to back, man.
Yeah, both sides' initiation is quite sloppy. The way that the Clockwork initiated by himself, Wisp was not nearby, CK was not nearby, and Wisp and CK wasn't even next to each other. Like you said, they need to be tied to the hip. You gotta basically jump and help out your teammates as so, but they didn't do it. Meanwhile, the Radiant team, good job at jumping on the Wisp. That is, in my opinion, the most important target right now. I know CK is very scary, Lone Shrew is very scary, and they're probably the hero that you need to eventually kill, but by getting rid of the Wisp, it makes your job a lot easier down the road.
I would like to see skill difference just be disciplined and patient here. They can have their Lone Druid farming one lane, their Weaver farming another, and then the CK Wisp, and then doing whatever they want, and then Clockwork could be roaming all around behind those three. You don't really need to group up. Grouping up plays in the hands of the Wombo combo, the big team fight of Root, and we will see, well, Wisp is mid currently, but I think actually keeping 4 heroes parked here is gonna... It's not really the best way to play this. It's a bit risky. They do have Aegis. They'll look to go in now. Let's see if they can make it work. Cogs deployed, just driving everyone back. There is a Blink RP. He could catch 3 there. They'll start with the Chrono. Look for the RP follow-up. The Blink. He jumps into the Chrono. Can he get off that RP? He will! Epicenter! Wombo combo! And they're all just melting down. Dilated Mind will fall. 3 heroes dead. A 4th pulled back in with the Glimpse. It's going to be Bear Force 1. No way out. Nope, he'll relocate, but he's coming back. He's coming back to die, unless he's got a little bit of help, which it looks like he won't.
Buy items. Buy item, my friend. You got 750 gold. He's got 608 reliable. Well, he's dead now.
I mean, I don't want to... Oh, Tether stuns away. There's just no way. Yeah, no way he escapes from that. I don't want to say I told you so, Lumi, but... I told you so?
What did you tell me?
Well, why are you grouping us 5 against this lineup? It doesn't make sense strategically. And all of a sudden, sure, you're up 15k gold, but experience-wise, you're not that far behind. Void is the hardest carry in this game, and a farmed enough Void can just muscle down a CK inside of Chronosphere, inside of RP, and a hero like Lone Druid won't do much against him once that Void becomes a true Bachelor. Now, he's a long way off, but losing fights like that is exactly what the doctor ordered for Root Gaming.
To me, he doesn't even need to get farm. I mean, all he did was set up a Chrono, right? And then Merlini just blinked in, Static Storm on top, Epicenter being channeled as well. He's just a caster initiator at this point, and that's fine. Anything that he gets beyond this is just a straight upgrade.
Oh, he'll get actually pulled back in by Reality Rift mid-skewer. Now he's trapped. Now he's caught. He'll drop. There's your big crit from Dilated Mind, who did opt for the Reaver, and now getting closer to his heart. So as soon as they have that big fight bottom, well, they get their Void some farm top. Oh, might even be worried about a relocate gank here momentarily. Needs to be careful.
He won. He could jump out. He should be fine. But I think ultimately Reaver might be the correct choice in this game. BKB is nice. It's just someone that Chronosphere is going to be used against you to initiate. BKB won't be doing too much because by the time you can activate BKB, you're probably dead or you're very close to it.
Yeah, it's risky because if he doesn't get it off, then you're right. He just dies.
Yeah, and even if he gets it off, he's still going to be trapped by the Chrono and then the RP to follow through. So maybe having raw HP to make your Phantasm a little bit stronger, make your crits a little bit mightier. That's not too bad either.
Well, if you're on the side of skill difference, I think you can slow roll this, as we will see a quick disconnect from Lust in the middle of a big team fight mid, apparently. Swaggity, he'll time-lapse out of this one, and we'll finally have a pause as soon as the initial scuffle ends. So Root being mannered there, not pausing directly in the middle of the engagement. Gem was picked up, by the way, by Lust. I'm actually not sure. I guess he bought this one. I don't think it was stolen.
Yeah, I don't think it was stolen either. Maybe they took your advice and got the gem in that last team fight and then got killed because of it.
I don't think so. Yeah, but yeah, I don't think I remember seeing one, so.
But in any case, I think they should be fine, although if Disruptor connects really quickly, maybe they could get Sanju because Glimpse is still online.
Man, it's hard to push into Root, isn't it? Like, if they have Chrono, RP, Epicenter, you really don't want to go into that head on, even with a fat CK. I think if you're on the side of skill difference, wait for the next Roche, farm up your Heart of Tarrasque, maybe do a bait, sit behind the Lone Druid, even sit behind the CK Wisp, and just if you can find a pick-off or two, Root's lineup needs to basically have the correct order of operations to win a team fight, right? They need to hit a good Chrono. They need the RP to hit multiple heroes. They don't want to chain the stuns too much. They need that chain stun and burst to bring heroes down. And we'll see a Glimpse back in. They'll pull the Lone Druid back. Not the easiest kill. They won't go on him.
Yeah, another way that the Dire team could do this is basically have the bear up front and slow siege it. Only show the bear and the hero himself. And you want to do this with the Aegis, obviously, because if Sanju dies, that's fine. I mean, they're kind of grouping it up. It's kind of scary.
They're going to siege it. Yeah, they are little groups and the CK Illusions and with the bear, along the lines of what you're saying. But that bear getting bashed, taking some big damage. It will fall, and much better positioning this time around. We'll go in. Chrono catches out 3. Look at the cleave. He's getting a lot of shockwave, or a lot of AoE lightning damage, I should say. Cogs comes out as well. Merlini, still no RP through it all. Never dropped it. I think the Cogs completely threw him off. Gem hits the deck as Disruptor takes a fall. We'll see the RP now. It catches out the bear and Dilated Mind, but it just wasn't really when the Void was alive, so there was no follow-up damage. I think it was the Cogs. Merlini was about to RP and I believe ate the Cog knockback and then couldn't find the opening after that.
Also, epic micro from Sanju when he was getting caught in the Chrono. He micro his bear to keep going on the Sand King. Sand King got bashed or got rooted, so he almost died. He had to use his Burst Strike back out. He was going to follow up with the Epicenter to really give him a ton of DPS they needed. Also, keep in mind that the Static Storm was down because they used to miss, so they missed a lot of damage. Despite of that, the Void had to jump because his Rax was being under siege. I think now, though, Shitbirds is about to shit on this mid tower.
You know, it's the tough thing when you start with the Void is Magnus can't guarantee... Oh, they're going to last with the Lone Druid. They'll pull it back in. The Glimpse is available, but we'll see a Skewer. Pile driving 3 back. Epicenter layered over the top of it. Dilated Mind on the run. Courier doing a deep sea rescue mission here straight into the Radiant base. There's no Phantasm. There is a Heart. He'll casually kill off Lust, and now the Void jumps in. Eats a Tether Stun.
Relocate!
And additional... No,
oh,
too late. Too late. Doesn't even get it off before the Wisp herself goes down, or itself. But they did get the Rax bottom. Not the smoothest engagement of skill differences life, but I would still say it's their game to lose at this point.
Yeah, I mean, right now the Radiant has maybe one more fight them, because the next time the Dire come back, they have all the cooldown ready to go. And we've seen the power of the Wombo combo. If the Star team kind of clump a little bit too much, they lose that fight flat out, and suddenly the game is even. But right now, of course, Dire has the advantage. probably go back to get the Aegis, which is now respawned, and Void again, saving for whatever buyback or upgrade to the Mjolnir, or maybe a blocking bar, whatever he needs to get it now.
Yeah, he'll need another item. I think it's going to be an Assault Cuirass this game. I feel like they need that minus armor, but we'll see. It could even be something like a Mjolnir. Well, of course, with a BKB next on the list for the CK, I imagine he'll still get one this game. I mean, I suppose you could also get the Manta, as we do see a play mouse. Yeah, Assault Cuirass coming next for a Void. Maybe even just get a Manta and just look to Siege with your Phantasm Illusions, your Manta Illusions, and the Bear. That's another option for them. And what we saw last fight is a cute little combo where you tether to the Bear, and the Bear benefits hugely from that. Takes less damage, I believe, and you still get the benefits of Overcharge, as well as that additional attack speed, of course.
Yeah, they do have to expose their Wisp in the front line, which is a little bit dangerous, especially considering that there is a Void that could initiate on you. So it's kind of a strategy that you gotta be somewhat careful about. I think they give the Aegis to Sanju here again. Yep.
Yeah.
And that's gonna allow him to even solo Siege. He doesn't even need a Wisp at this point, but Wisp is gonna provide the extra attack speed if he needs it.
Would love to see buyback on that Wisp. So once on the ultimate, as well as the CK, once the big ultimates are blown, you can just come right back in with a relocate. They don't have it yet. Might be something worth farming for, but with this kind of a lead, they may even be able to just force the issue regardless, as long as they do it properly. We saw them really, settle down, basically. They had that one fight bottom where they got grouped up, they got caught out, they ate the huge epic team fight combo, they died. But as long as they do it like they did the second time around, I think they'll be in great shape. And let's see if they maintain that discipline. Looks like they will. There's no glyph. There is everything online for the Radiant. They'll go for a big back stab here, a big smoke gank, wrapping around from the side. We'll see the CK Illusions already deployed. Rax is going to fall. Bing will come. The epicenter, a decent one at that. Catching out the Illusions. The Illusion's still at half HP, not even dead yet. Clockwork Hook, not really going to do a whole lot, but DDX will fall. Now, Matt Merlini throws one more. The Bear into the cogs. There is an RP, but he keeps on getting pushed away. He can't find the opening. He doesn't have mana now. No mana, no RP, no dice for Merlini. He will bite the dust. And those cogs, even with the BKB, which I was going to say earlier, he needs a BKB, but there's still always cogs. So freaking obnoxious, man.
Man, I felt like the supports of this lineup were just a little bit too weak in terms of defending. Once the Bear just ran on the tower, they had no answer. They couldn't sleep it, they couldn't stun it, they can't do anything to it. And the Bear by itself just forces the Root Gaming to react. And they went for a smoke gank to the side, which I believe was very, very smart. But
wasn't enough in the end.
Yeah, it wasn't enough.
And I mean, it's like you said, these supports can't really deal with a siege. These are supports that just aren't that good at playing for behind. Sandcane, in theory, is decent, but when he's up against the Clockwork Cogs as well as the CK Reality Rift Tether Stun combo, in practice, he gets one Burrow Strike Epicenter off, and then he probably eats a single stun, and then he definitely dies with this amount of physical damage. And obviously, Disruptor is not good at playing defense because he doesn't have much for AoE. We'll see a hook in. DDX gonna die, but it will be skill difference. The North American squad, they're gonna take this best of one. They'll be moving on to your winter bracket finals of Group F, where they will be facing either Liquid or Four Friends and Krilly. Probably Liquid, based on what past performance is, but with the best of one format, you never know. Could be either team. So all things considered, Tri-Lane Wisp, CK, Weaver, unorthodox, but when you look at the way that Root drafted, I think it was a pretty smart decision from Skill Difference, and credit goes to Dilated Mind or whoever made that call here on the team of Skill Difference.
Yeah, really, really well played. This is why we love to cast replay, or at least I do, because you get really crazy lineup, crazy games like these, and interesting heroes as well.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for this best of one. Skill Difference moving forward into the winter bracket finals. One game away from first place. They will await the winner of 4FC versus Liquid. As for Root Gaming, they're not out of it yet, but they dropped down to your loser bracket. They'll now have to win 2 in a row to take second place in this group. If they lose another game, they go home. Coming up next, it will be 4FC, Four Friends and Krilly versus Team Liquid, so stay tuned for that. I'm LD, he's Luminous, we are Beyond the Summit. Be sure to follow us, twitter.com/LuminousInverse for him, and twitter.com/LDDota for me. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned. We have 4 more games of We Play Dota 2 League group stage action, and they come up right after this.